show dedicated to the creative journey and the highs and the lows and everything that brings with it. I'm joined in the studio today with a gentleman who has a passion for live music, so much so that he started his own music festival in Berkhamsted called the Berkofest. Hello Charlie, how are you today?
Very well, thank you. And
Thank you for joining us.
Not at all.
And tell me a little bit about the Berkofest.
Well, as you said in the introduction, it's because I have a passion for live music and the sheer buzz that it gives you and the high. And I can't actually play a note, nor can I sing a tune. And I just love going to live music shows. And it's one of those things that comes out when you're sort of sitting around in a pub with a few people and thinking, Berkhamsted needs a music festival. And we've got the ideal setting, which is Berkhamsted Cricket Club, which is set in the rolling hills of the Chilterns. It's a natural amphitheatre, and I'm a member of that club. I thought, come on, we just got to put on a festival because we keep talking about it, and it's just part of my passion for live music. I just want to see live music. I just really enjoy it. I think it's brilliant. It gives you one of the most natural highs, and there's nothing greater than going to a live music festival. So we thought, right.
And then what sort of music do you have there then?
Well, yeah, it's variety because you've obviously got to have one or two names to sort of attract the audience, especially in the first year, because we were just coming out of nothing. It didn't exist before I came along. And then we're also trying to promote, which is part of the whole ethos, is young musicians. So give them a stage as well for people to see them. So you're trying to get a mixture of sort of good, fun music that people recognise. And in the first year we had Shawaddy Waddy. Which everybody's reaction was that, and everybody said, "Oh God, what a bit." When they came on, everybody was doing "Under the Moon," boom, boom, and all that, and they just created a great buzz. So and then it's great for the families because it's a family festival. Really, It's very family friendly, and at the same time, we had this area for young musicians, part of the Swan Youth Centre, which is in Berkhamsted, and so that was it. It was to give the opportunity to see professional musicians, and then sort of wannabe musicians to have their stage, and for them also to see if they really are aspiring to become musicians, what goes on at a stage. Because we also had Glenn Tilbrook out of Squeeze, Cool for Cats and things.
Lovely.
And he was just brilliant. He closed in the first year in 2012. We had an acoustic tent and he was in there, and he was just amazing.
So you've had an acoustic tent, and then what else did you have there?
So we have the main stage, which is on the veranda of the cricket club. And in the first year we had the names that people would have heard of, Shawaddy Waddy, and the headline act was Seth Lakeman, who's a brilliant multi-instrumentalist, folk singer, who's from Devon, Cornwall area, which is I have very strong links with, and he was just amazing to finish. And as I say, Shawaddy Waddy, we were in the sort of mid-afternoon slot when all the families are there. And in the first year also we had this acoustic tent, which is just a whole load of local musicians where they were performing. But again, to end it in that first year, we had Glenn Tilbrook, who was just, and you could see him when he was playing, he really got the buzz, and you could hear him actually saying, let's go for it. And he just upped it a notch. And so anybody watching it, the audience just enjoying it, but any sort of wannabe musicians could just see the skill and professionalism that's required. So that was the first year. And this year we did it again, and it was a bit smaller. We didn't go on to the evening. And what we did, instead of having an acoustic tent, we actually had arranged a stage for the Swan Youth Centre, and they're all musicians aged sort of 15, 16.
Was there rapping?
Oh, there was all sorts. God, it was bonkers. It was completely mad. And they had their own mini festival, and they thoroughly enjoyed it. And it meant they could be part of a larger festival. Our headline act was Lee Thompson out of Madness. He's the sax player.
Did he draw a crowd?
He did draw a crowd, and he was very good. And he was doing some of the Madness songs. So that they finished it off. But again, it was just great. It's just to create a vibe and an atmosphere. And a lot of people who live in Berkhamsted, their families, young families, and they can't now have the opportunity to go to festivals like they used to when they were sort of a bit younger. So they've got one on their doorstep. They can just roll up and enjoy.
And it's a day, is it?
It's a day. It's an afternoon, sort of from midday to the evening. And they can just come along. We've been really lucky with the weather, so they've come along and they've sat down, let the kids roam free, because we have some sort of attractions for the kids as well, for the young ones who might get a little bit
Do you have
board.
stalls for people
Yeah,
to kind of have a look around?
Yeah, and we're very much promoting the best of Berkhamsted, so we have a lot of stalls that are attached to Berkhamsted, those that, especially in the food stores. There's a local ice cream parlour called Scoops.
So did they sell ice cream?
They did, and they did their own Berkofest ice cream when they're now called Mario's, but Mario Scoops, and that was great. We had the local butcher called Eastwoods, who are one of the leading organic butchers in the country, so they were doing, they did a barbecue, and one or two others sort of coffee shops, local new cafe called Here Cafe, and they were producing the produce. So we're very much, it's not only promoting the music, but we're trying to promote the best of Berkhamsted, so there was a lot to give it a sort of community feel.
I think what sounds so lovely about it is out of your passion for live music and wanting to create a vibe on your doorstep,
Yeah.
you've ended up creating an event that sounds like a community, like the whole community jumped on board.
Yes.
And presumably every year, because you've done it for 2 years, two shows in the last
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, and it's now going to be annual.
So there'll be an annual, and I think that you probably have the community asking for it now.
We do. I mean, we've got a very, Berkofest is a known name and a brand in the town, and we do have people asking for it. And also so much so that we've got Decorum, which is our local council, their tourist board are now sponsoring us, so Decorum Look No Further, which is really good. They're getting behind us. So it's beginning, albeit their sponsorship may be indirect, as in not direct financial help, but they're backing us and promoting us. It's on their calendar of events.
I suppose the financial help is always the
that's what you need.
is the thing that really a lot of these kind of idealistic endeavours do lack that kind of financial backing that they need to take them to the level.
Yeah, I mean, to get to the next stage, we would want to. You do need significant sponsorship, but we're in a recession, so it's not going to happen. But what we're trying. What we're trying to do is do sort of slightly smaller events, build up the pot. Because I would like to make clear is that we're all volunteers. It's not our day job. It was my midlife hiatus, and I just decided, let's do this. So we're all doing it, and we're all sort of driven by this passion of live music, and to give back to somewhere where we live. And if like in the first year, 3,500 people turned up, and we donated significant money to local community causes.
I mean, that's a huge turnout for an unknown event. Really,
it was.
in an area. Berkhamsted might cover a lot of kind of area in a sense, but it's not a massive area.
No. I mean, that's sort of about 10% of the population. So, we were really pleased. So it was brilliant. I mean, to get that significant number of people was amazing.
It's a very good turnout.
That's
I must
fantastic.
say.
We were really pleased, and everybody enjoyed themselves. This year, we made it smaller deliberately because it's a huge logistical pressure.
How do you make it smaller? Is that just to less publicity?
Just by your marketing, and the hours are shorter. And we made it quite clear that there was only a limited number of tickets available. So that's how you made it smaller, and through your marketing. So
how do you market an event like this and get 3,000 people through the door? Because I know I've been involved in organising a health and wellbeing exhibition. It was in Boreham Wood. It was at a hotel, and we were in the papers and things. But we had probably around 300 to 500 people through the door.
I think we were really lucky because the weather. I mean, any outdoor event in this country is just dependent on the sunshine, and what happened was the week before, on the first event, we'd sold about 800 tickets, and everybody saw the forecast, and then it just went ballistic because they all thought great, and our marketing had been very, very good. Similarly, this year we were very lucky with the weather, and we sold out, which was at a capacity of 800, and we got it, so we were really, really pleased.
So did you budget for
Yeah.
800, and is it a paid event?
It is a paid event, very much so. So we budgeted for that, and also the ticket pricing for this year was lower than the first year, so people knew it was a smaller event. And so that's why it's just through your marketing, and this day and age, not that I'm really into it, but social media. And if you use that quite astutely, which we did, Facebook, there's a lot of...
Did you have to pay in to do, I mean, obviously marketing doesn't come for free, does it?
No, but you can't, yes, you do have to pay, that's part of your budgeting, but there are ways around it, especially if you do Facebook and Twitter, but then you can also posters and I think around the town, leaflets everywhere, and we were, very good, a lot of local shops, the fashion shops like Amelie and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, along with, as I say, Scoots, Mario's and Here Cafe, the King's Arms, they all allowed us to publicise leaflets through their shops and things. So that's what you're doing. It's just relentless campaigning. We had banners about the place. So the first year was really hard because nobody knew what it is. Now after that, it's slightly easier because the name Berkofest resonates with the population. And we're not solely aiming for just those within the Berkshire postcode. There are obviously people came from far and wide because of the acts we had.
I don't think there's not that many festivals that I'm aware of for the surrounding areas either in this neck of the woods. Not in a proper way.
There is one or two others sort of roundabout that I know of, but they're at different times of the year where because ours is in September, the competition isn't so great. There's we deliberately have it at the beginning of the sort of that school term, so everybody's back from holiday. Because in Berkhamsted, everybody during the school holidays, it's sort of like a ghost town. So there's no point having anything in July and August because half the population aren't there. So and September, when you're talking about weather, is often benign. So that's what you want because you're an outdoor event. So no, we were really pleased that both years we technically sold out. So that's just great. It's
amazing.
It is.
So I'm quite interested if you could paint a picture for me. You've done a pretty good job of it so far, but I'm interested to hear, if I were to come to the Berkofest, what would I see, what would I feel, what would I hear? If I looked around me, what would be there?
You'd be, I think, overwhelmed by such a happy vibe. It's just so everybody's really up for enjoying a good time, and it's very kind of chilled, it's laid back.
And what kind of music am I listening to as I'm walking through?
It's all very guitar-led.
Okay.
So it's with harmonies and things like that. So that's the kind of music. It's not going to be a noise. It's much more chilled than that. And it's because my whole thing is about live music and musicians being able to play and respond to the crowd, and to play an instrument and respond to the crowd. And you'll come in, and what people generally do is it's like a bit like when you go on holiday on the beach. You put your towel down. In this case, you put your sort of matting down. You sit down, you've got your spot. There's local Haresfoot Brewery, got their own tent. There's various other things, food tents and things. And then the kids, just because it's in a cricket ground, which is an enclosed space of 10 acres, they just roam.
Did you have children of your own?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But they do roam around. They're playing football. They're just enjoying themselves. The parents are very relaxed because the kids are safe, doing their own thing. They've got a few stalls that appeal to them. And when the parents can just, have a pint, have a drink, glass of wine, whatever,
Sounds glorious.
It is, and it's just the vibe is just so happy. It's just there's no other word for it, and just very happy, but sort of boisterous in a nice way because they're all up for a bit of music, and in the end everybody's dancing on the outfield because of who you've got performing, and it's music that people know, even if they might not recognise the artist, and they think, oh yeah, I know that song, and so they'll start singing along so. Like I say, we had this year Lee Thompson, so the man song, so people are suddenly, doing One Step Beyond, and they're all doing that dance. And, we had Glen Tilbrook, they're all singing Cool for Cats and Coffee in the Morning, and that's what you want. So it is, it's just an amazing, happy, vibrant vibe.
And what kind of support do you have in terms of organising it?
There's a very small team that we have, and they're just brilliant. They're also enthusiastic, they're sort of wanting to contribute. So there's myself, Lucinda, Sarah, and Rebecca, and then there's a guy called Shane who's a local musician who does a lot of open mic nights in this area and plays in St Albans and Watford.
So does he get the acts from
Well,
there?
he doesn't. Yeah, he does. He sort of MCs it. Well, the first year we had Ronan River on MCing it.
Wow.
Who was amazing. He was just brilliant, and he just got the thing instantly. But he does the sort of local, where we're doing the local musicians, so he knows some of those, and he's just very good. And and all the musicians, again, this year we had Jasmine Rogers, who's the daughter of Paul Rogers, who's in Free and Bad Company. She was there, and she was brilliant, but she also just, like in the first year, Steph Lakeman and Glen Tilbrook, they all just wander around the site and mix with people, and that's what you want. You just want...
So that is a festival, isn't it? A
Yeah.
festival is about just every day mixing, mingling, enjoying the
Yeah,
vibe.
just enjoying and just going with the flow, and it is. I can't emphasise enough how just happy.
It's
but
interesting because
chilled.
my sister lives in Brighton, and
Yeah,
I've been there, We were very lucky to be there during one of their festivals, and they really know how to put on a good festival.
Yeah, on that Fat Boy Slim thing, yeah.
Well, no, this was just a local one in one of the greens in the middle of the buildings, and it was just magnificent with the stage. Everybody was chilled out on their picnic blankets. There were stalls. It was so stunning. And I always thought, you know, it would be nice to have something a little bit closer to home.
Well, they've got one now.
There you go.
So there you go. So
and what's the date of the next one then?
September the 12th.
September the 12th,
Yeah,
2015.
Yeah, so I mean, that you've summed it up. That's the whole point. Just nice local stalls, come along, and you'll just hear some great music. You'll hear some music you've never heard before because they're new acts, but that's part of it. That's part of promoting, and all that is in the team. We all want to promote live music.
But if you had a favourite, so if from your other events there was somebody that was a particular hit with the crowd, wouldn't it be beneficial to have them back as like it's the old returning favourites and lots of new?
Yeah, what we did from the first year, there was a couple of people appeared in the acoustic tent, and we, if you like, promoted them to the main stage because they went down really well. So you do that. Also, yes, I mean, I think there are one or two that we will have again because they went down so well. It's a question of their availability. But and you're right, but also people want something different because you get the other reaction is, oh, it's them again. We've already seen them once. It was great. So you're trying to get that happy balance between people going along saying, oh, God, he was really good, or she was really good this year. Oh, great, they're there again. And especially to those that missed it, thinking they've heard all about it. But also you're trying to get something similar where people say, oh, yeah, great, you know, oh, they've got them this year.
So it's very interesting because I've interviewed, because you talk about live music, which implies playing guitar, drums, the rest of it. Now, I've interviewed a couple of amazingly talented musicians who record new age style music, but it's synthesized.
Yeah.
And I've often thought, because having listened to it in my work and kind of finding that it does take you off to that kind of faraway place, which is what you've described that the music does at your festival. Would that class as live music to you? If there was an actual person there synthesizing the music there with the vibe, matching it to the atmosphere, would that qualify?
It's a good question.
Or you have a tent for that sort of thing? I don't know. I'd love to see that style of music, like Jean-Michel Jarre's style of music, and he did some impressive concerts, didn't he?
Yeah, and before that, Rick Wakeman and all that. I mean, I understand who you mean. Yeah. Yes, but that is live music because it is them still playing and everything else. What I'm sort of differentiating from is what I call karaoke style music, where somebody as a good singer coming along but has backing tracks. That's not
like a fake.
Yeah.
Versus the. Yeah,
genuine. I want real, and you want to see. It's just, I suppose, I'm biased towards. I just love watching guitar players and watching and or what they can do and how they react. So it's like, yes, that I'm not adverse to it. It's just not. We haven't sort of come across anybody that would do it, but they're still creating a great atmosphere, and they're responding to the crowd and what you know, because that's what you want is musicians responding to the audience feedback, and that's where you see the great musicians. They respond back to that and go off in that direction.
And what is it about the live music that really kind of does it for you? Because I can see that passion behind your eyes and the excitement. Is that because of that response?
Yeah, it's just
to the audience, that engagement and the
connection.
That
engagement and it does give you, I can't explain, it gives you a natural high. I mean, it's just, and to see somebody that's got the ability to do that, just to walk on stage and just hold you, you're just mesmerised, and they have that skill, because it is a skill. And also there are, you know, many musicians out there, but they haven't quite got that mysterious X factor. And as soon as you see it, you know it, and they come on stage, hit a note, and you're there. You're just there, and they've got you. And then they can take you on a journey. They can take you on a creative journey. The way they pace the set, you know, there's the highs, and they bring you down a bit, and then they bring you up. I mean, you know, that's what when you see the greats, you know, somebody like Sting, when you see him live, he takes you up, he brings you down a bit, takes you up, and then away you go. The Rolling Stones or any of those people. It's just, you watch them and how they manipulate your emotions. That's what they're doing, and that's what you want to come away from. And then they all end on a great encore where you all sing along, and you just feel good. You just feel great. It just takes away all your cares. Doesn't matter what's going on in your home.
Yeah, we could all do with a bit of that, couldn't we?
We could. I mean, it just takes away. You know, you may have just got a parking ticket that day, and suddenly some place like that, and it goes. It just, I think that's the thing, and it's just this amazing ability to stand there and
So what is your background then? Because this is not, you're not a musician. You said you don't play an instrument, you don't sing. You obviously love music, which I can relate to because I love music as well. But what's your background then? How did you come to, because organising an event is huge, because I've done it, I know what goes into it. What is your background?
Well, my background is, as you say, it's nothing to do with music, other than there's never a single moment where I'm in the car, in the house, I'm playing music. I just have hundreds and hundreds. I'm still on fashion CDs. I'm not into I play. So there's constantly, if you went to my car now, you'd see there's just, I don't know, 100 CDs there, just waiting and choosing. And it's just the love of music and the fact I'm frustrated that I can't play a note. So then, you think, well, what's the next best thing? And it's also, you want to give back something. Mm-hmm. And this is, giving back something to the community that you live in. And that's what it's about. And it's just, I have the ability to persuade others to join me on this.
So you've got a little committee of
team, the ones
people.
I mentioned earlier, and you just, they're with you and they're backing you and they're helping you, and sort of you cover each other's strengths and weaknesses. So that's it, and it's just.
And how many of you did you say? About 6 of you?
Yeah, a little less. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah,
5 of you, and were they there with you from the very first one? You got them on board.
2 of them were, and then others have joined because there's a good friend of mine, Rebecca, who moved into the area in the last year, so she's become involved. Mm-hmm. So but it is, you just need a small team, and you just drive it, and you all got.
Are they musicians or?
Well, other than Shane, no.
Oh yeah, Shane's the local.
Yeah, he's the local
open mic night.
Yeah, Shane Lamont. He does open mics. He's called the Warrior of Light.
He's called the Warrior.
Warrior of Light.
Oh.
And he plays regularly around here in Albans, and as I say, he has a regular open mic night at Horns at Watford. Mm-hmm. So, and he's very charismatic, and it's just a brilliant musician, and he can just, he plays by ear, and he can just tell. I mean, he is fantastic. And he can just get a crowd going. So and he's on that side of it. And the rest of us are a mixture of sort of admin, the boring side of it, the admin, because it's a huge thing to put on an event. The first one, and that's why we made it smaller, because on the first one, once you get above a certain size, it's just the logistics involving the police, the council, and everything else, and you're responsible if you get to a certain size. For all the streets around about, and that's great. People don't think about that, so that's why we went smaller this year. So, and the security and all that thing. So it's a massive logistical event.
And is there any advice you could give to any of our viewers who might be considering putting on an event like this? Because
you've got to be insane. I think you've got to be really passionate, insane. You've got to have a very clear idea of what you're trying to achieve and who. And like ours was very much aimed at the local market, and you know what your audience is.
To know your audience and know what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and so you don't put on a music festival for yourself. You got to know your audience. You may have some acts on that you would never in a month of Sundays necessarily listen to yourself, but that's what your audience want, because you've got to get them through the door. Once you get them through the door, once you seduce them, then you can subvert them with other types of music, say like your synthesizers and things like that. You say, hey, have you ever really heard of sort of I didn't realise you could play that kind of music on a synthesizer. And then, but they wouldn't know them up front. But then when you got them, then you can subvert.
So what's great is that you're exposing people to all kinds of music.
Yes.
Once you've got them there, because it's a music festival predominantly, isn't it? It's a music festival. So the whole idea is to have that's I suppose why I was asking you a few times what kinds of music, because by definition for me, when I hear music festival, I'd expect to find a range
of music,
of different genres of music, different kinds of types of music to kind of engage in, so that I could leave feeling a little bit more enriched. Because music enriches you anyway, but this way I can get to experience things I would never really go out and do normally.
That's the point, or you might never have thought of, oh God.
I mean, do you know what the most amazing experience I had? And it actually happened, my sister went on a trip to Uganda. They went to build a school in Uganda, my sister and her then boyfriend, now husband, father of her children, and they went to Uganda, and then on the back of a lorry from Kenya to South Africa. An amazing story, but she did an art exhibition because she wanted to raise money to give to this charity, the school. They had to take a bit of money with them, as is the case, or I think most of the time. And she did an art auction at the Bull in Barnet.
Oh yeah.
And because they were going to Uganda, what they did is they got a friend of theirs who's Ugandan to cook curries, and we had the whole Ugandan spread laid out.
Brilliant.
They did the auction, and then there was a drumming workshop with somebody from Uganda, and they had a band
music.
Playing. A friend of my brother-in-law's plays. Oh gosh, I can't even recall the genre of music, and it's one of my favourites. Like a bit of indie style, funk as well. It was like a funk indie mix, absolutely amazing. You couldn't stand still when they were playing. But she'd had another friend come in, and there was this whole drumming workshop going on.
Fantastic.
And that's not even a music festival, but we got to experience all of this. We got a taste of Uganda, literally. And figuratively. The drumming workshop, and then the auction. I mean, there wasn't anybody not buying, let's be honest. They warmed us up, really.
But you've got them going. You've got them, haven't you?
That funk music is just amazing. In fact, this band played at their wedding when they came back 2 years later.
Amazing.
But again, that's the thing. I'd come to the music festival, and how great would it be to engage in doing the music? I know you don't play a note on the guitar, but you could drum. Everybody can drum.
Yeah, I think one of the things, there's two things you highlighted there for me, is I, for instance, love African music, and and the beats and the drumming and all that. And years ago in south of France, on June the 21st, which is the longest day, they just in the south of France, they call it their music day. And any village in south of France has a music festival going on. And I went along to this one. This was near Saint-Tropez, a small village outside. And this is a really odd mix. There was a guy on a bagpipe and a guy on African drums. And they just got you. And once you heard it, it worked. Because if you hear bagpipes, they're often, when they're naturally playing, they've got the normal drum, the army drum. But this was an African drummer behind it. And you could not stop dancing, your foot tapping. And that was just an amazing, like your face was like, what? Bagpipe and drums?
A bit weird.
How does that work? But that works, and that's the kind of thing that I would like to do. So you've got that. People would never think of seeing that, but when they see it and hear it, and your foot taps, and it gets that buzz. That's what you want. So, and I would love. That's my point about seducing people when you got them there. Is I would like to get some African music in there because it's just so infectious. And I do listen to a lot of music from Mali and places like that, and Afro-Celtic sound system and all that, which is a mixture again of pipes and drums.
You've got those big barrels as well, where they play around the.
The skill of that.
It's so amazing.
Just the skill, it's stunning, and the skill of that is just amazing. So that's what you want to do. So yes, we are looking, for instance, to do, and that's reminding me, actually got to do that for next year, is to have something like a drumming workshop. So then kids can go along and think, hang on, let's try it and get people engaged.
Drumming is the safest instrument to everybody loves to pick up a
bang.
drum and have a go, or drum,
and bang something.
But even the bongos, everybody's quite confident to do that. You can't go very wrong with it, so that's a really safe space to do it with. And I've seen a lot of there's also music workshops where you do give different instruments to everybody that's there. And can you imagine you're 3,000 people? I know you've gone smaller, so you're 800 people. And of them, you've got these instruments out there, and they're making the music.
Well, thank you very much, because
I'm loving the Berkofest.
No, but thank you, because that is on our sort of to-do list. Because we've got to rebuild. I mean, again, those sort of things, you put it on, but you've got to find people who are good to do it, and obviously they don't come without a cost. So that's in part of your budget, but that's very much actually. We would like to do a sort of drumming workshop, because it's all very well saying, well, this is the music, this is what you can do. Right? How do you get step one?
God, I'd love to cover that event. Wouldn't you, producer?
You should come along,
we want to cover. We want to cover. We want to cover. I don't know how we're going to deal with all the sounds going on, but we'll
but you would love it. You would really enjoy it, and especially, like I say, the Swan tent with the kids. We're just going bonkers. That's what you want. They would just go mad. I mean, like I was walking around with Jasmine Rogers, and come from a very musical family. Dad's very musical, she's a very good musician, and she was just stunned by it. She said, "Isn't that great?" They're just having a great time. But
do you know what's lovely? The generations. You can have every generation engages in music in one way or another.
They do, and they're all sort of saying, "Oh, I don't like," so and the young ones will say, "Oh, I don't like what they call old man's music," and yet you can play a track by, I don't know, Fleetwood Mac, Go Your Own Way, and so it goes on. Say the PA system, they're all dance because they all know, because the parents.
I love my 15-year-old, so I'm singing a song that's been re-recorded, really a cover
like the Beach
version.
Boys. God only knows now.
Yeah, and then you've got, there's all different kinds of things, and she's going, how do you know all the words? I'm like, do you realise that how old the song is?
Exactly,
actually?
that was 40, 50 years, you know.
And to be honest, it was done better.
It's true, it was. But then you see there's a prime example now, isn't it, on BBC, the God Only Knows, you know, by the Beach Boys, 60s, everybody poo-poo Beach Boys. Now that everybody's doing it, and it's part of, I think, Children, or the BBC Music brand, it's suddenly, oh yeah, okay, yeah. And all the new boys bands that ever come along, they always do a cover of something like Cat Stevens' song. Yeah, actually, we know it. So, and if you can get through all, because we all have music snobbery, all us, whatever age. If you get through all of that, like we had with Shawadi Wadi, I don't want Shawadi Wadi, you know, but you do, actually. You do, because it's infectious, it's good fun. But that's what I'm saying, and then you subvert them. When you get them, that's the key, and you're right, that's what we want to do. And I thank you about the drumming workshops, because we need to get that in, because that was on our list. And it's one of the things that we want to do next year, to get them at the stage.
Say with special thanks to Creative Herts.
Yeah, you can sponsor the tent, or we'll have the tent sponsored by you. But it is, we would do that, because I think that's a thing that you want to start building on. So that's the first stage, this is how you learn. Then you get to, say, like the Swan Youth Centre tent, then you get to the main stage. And also, obviously, what we're hoping for is that we discover the next Ed Sheeran or Adele or whatever. And actually, in the first year, we had a girl called Emma Stevens, who was a backing singer to a local band. She's now a singer and a singer-songwriter in her own right, and she's on Radio 2, she's on Chris Evans, and I think, okay, it's great. She was part of her learning live process, was part of us. I mean, she done loads of live gigs.
Well, it's nice if she says she performed at the Berkofest.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. Yeah,
reciprocal thing.
Yeah, and years ago, Shane in particular knew a girl singing band called the Staves, who are three sisters, and they're going massive. They're on Joe Wiley, they're on McConey and Radcliffe show and everything else. They got a new album coming out, and they would have been somebody, if we'd set this up 3 or 4 years ago, they would have appeared.
Would have come through the festival.
Because they went through the open mic sessions at the Horns, and they admit that one of their first gigs was at the Horns through with Shane. So that's what you're trying to get as well. You think, oh great, well if I've helped you on that journey.
Well, it would be nice also to get some bigger names returning.
Yeah, it would be.
Some bigger names in Hertfordshire. That's the other way round. That's when you can afford to do the bigger 3,000, 4,000,
exactly.
5,000 people.
You want to get somebody back that played 5 years ago and say, actually, you were just starting out and now you're a name, and that's your dream. But and that will happen, because we'll keep doing it each year.
So will you get bigger again? I know you were 3,000 and now you've gone down
to 800. Yes, we probably in 2 or 3 years. We might be like the Olympics every 4 years. We do a big one. And then in between, it is the sheer logistical effort when you're all on.
I often think of logistics in Glastonbury. I mean, hello. Oh my goodness.
Yes, but they're big 2 years and they've got a team and they can pay and da-da-da.
But you build up to that. I'm sure it started out like a Berkofest.
Yeah, it did. And I think, and like you're saying, you keep saying the name Berkofest, it's a great name. It sums it up. If those who live in the area know Berkofest is called Berkofest, is what it is.
You've got food, and you've got your entertainment, and you've got your vibe.
And the logos are, if you can imagine a guitar, the B becomes a B. So the logo is Berko with that guitar, which is the most simple. And that's part of when you say a team. There's a great guy called Dave Bradbury who's our designer, and he gave us the name and the brand and the look, and it's just wonderful. And that's part of it. And he just did it because he wanted to contribute to the local area, and he just thought I could do the best name around. And he came up with it, and it's brilliant.
I think what's lovely though, I have to just compliment or commend you on something, is that you are paying it back in a sense. You're bringing with you on this journey all the different people that seem to have helped you along the way, and I'm sure there's others that haven't come up as we've spoken, but you're mentioning all the help and support you've had along the way, and I think that's something to really just say, to acknowledge in a way, because there's a lot of people that create these things, this end product, and they forget the people along the way who help, because people do. But you haven't, and I think that's really.
Thank you. I mean, to me, it's natural. You just got to do it, and like I say, we call him Designer Dave because loads of Daves, and he's just brilliant. And each year he comes up with a new look and a new design. Still around Berko and Berkofest, because we also do this winter event. So the summer event is an outdoor event at the Cricket Ground, and it's standing and there's no seats.
Pushing summer. September's a bit where you kind of pray on the day for
in
the
this
wedding.
country, to be fair. September is pretty, as I say, it's benign normally, and it's normally quite mild. I mean, you can have a very common.
Sorry, I took you off.
No, fair enough. But we also do now an annual winter show. The first year we called it Winter Wonderland. This year we're calling it The Magic of Christmas, because we've got some magicians coming along for a family show attached to Marvin's Magic, is a well-known brand within the magician world. And it's in the local Centenary Theatre, which is part of Berkofest School. It's a lovely, lovely theatre, like any theatre you go to in the London West End. Holds 500 people, and we're putting on this annual family Christmas show. So what we're all about is quality. So the Berkofest is quality, the actual main festival. Also, our winter show is quality. In the first year, we had Adrian Scarborough. He put together a show, and he's in things like Gavin and Stacey and Upstairs, Downstairs, and he was in the King's Speech. He's a well-known actor.
Is he local? Does he
he lives on my street.
Oh, very nice.
So he was in the Winter Wonderland. I mean, he's so busy, can't be involved again. But we also, and actually talking about people living in the same street, we have a well-known comedian called Ronit, who's on Radio 4 the whole time. He's in a thing called The Monkey Cage on with Brian Cox. And he was here, because we do a bit of comedy on the main festival, and he did a brilliant sort of slot this year, and he's engaged and he actively supports, and he's a very, just bizarrely, he lives on my street as well, and I'll see him on the train, and whenever we're just sitting there going nowhere fast.
Berkhamsted's obviously the
hotbed. It's a
hotbed of talent.
It is. It's quite. Well, there is. I think partly because of where it is, because it is a commuter town. So there are a lot of people want to live in Hertfordshire. It's we're out doing it's 30 minutes from Euston.
It's very easy.
It's quick, and so you get there are quite a lot of West End performers who live in around, so you're trying to tap into that. And Robin Ince was just brilliant.
So the winter
it's called the Magic of Christmas this year. Okay. So that's December the 13th.
Do you have a grotto and that kind of vibe, or is it not that?
Well, the first year we had a grotto and Splatter Santa, as in you throw things. This year we're just relying on the magic of the magicians. So there'll be the whole show's magic, and then in the interval there'll be various magic things going on. So
it's almost like the winter event, I would imagine, costs more in a sense. Sometimes.
I mean, it costs. That's just as costly. I think one of the biggest costs is obviously like what is most costly in the summer event is a sound stage. So that's what's very expensive in this, because it's in a theatre. It already has a sound stage, so it's not so bad.
Helps. And I don't suppose you get sponsors. I know you're looking and would love to, with our open arms, have sponsorship to keep these events going and take them to the next level.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's
and I suppose even if somebody were able to sponsor the sound stage or sponsor, is that?
Yeah, or sponsor. We do have in this year's event, because it's smaller. We had sponsored logos on the poster. So we had Kia Cafe, we had the Ilford Arms, we had King's Arms, and they're sort of local venues. So that's what you're also after. So anybody wants to get involved in sponsorship. And one of the things that we're also doing, which is slightly removed from the idea of a festival, is we're doing what's called, with sponsors, a thing called a bounce back. In other words, if you keep your ticket, and then you can go to them to get a discount on something. So like we're doing with the King's Arms, if you keep your Winter Wonderland ticket, you then during January get a complimentary whatever they're offering. I think in this case it's a complimentary dessert with the main meal. Some of here cafe.
A bounce back. That's a clever idea.
It's brilliant. So you're trying to engage.
And how much do these tickets cost?
Well, the one for the Magic, the one this winter, is the adults is £12 and kids are £5. So it's it's far cheaper than going up to London to a Panto or whatever else. It's a very reasonably priced. They're going to get quality. Just as on the way here, I've just been to see Marvin's Magic, and I've just met one of the magicians called Justin Monahan, and he's brilliant. He's a really personable guy, really likely guy, and this is going to be all this magic, and it's going to be interactive. It's to engage your kids. It's going back to what you're saying about the drumming and engaging. Very much the show is going to be interactive.
Kids are kids and parents very into magic. Magic is a big thing. The likes of Dynamo and
because it's a big
he's
thing.
Really brought magic.
Even
further forward than it was before.
It is, and I think all of us, and it kind of is one of those things that's associated with Christmas, like ghost stories. Another thing is the magic. That's why we're calling it the magic
of Christmas. Yeah.
And it'll be a great show, and there's a bit of music as well. Shane Lamont, bless him, he's there along with his.
I have to ask again.
Warrior of Light. And his friend Henry Parker. Henry Parker's another one who's a talented musician. The pair of them, together.
No. What I have to ask again is, in your other life, because this is like a full-time endeavour, organising events like this. But what do you do when you're not event organising?
Well, my professional life is I'm a sports picture editor for a national newspaper.
Okay.
Which means I choose the pictures that go on the back pages, the sport pictures, live events. So, the Premiership football, European Cup, England games or whatever. So I'm choosing, from all the hundreds of pictures that come in under the direction of the sports editors, I'm choosing the pictures that go into the paper that if you're into sport, and the next day you think, oh yeah, okay, that's a picture of that goal. So that's my day job. So
I have to say, although I don't read the sports section, I love the pictures. I do love the pictures. Because a friend of mine's a professional footballer, he's a goalkeeper.
Ah.
And so often, and he's abroad, he played for Barnet for a season or two here a while back.
Yeah.
And I love seeing his pictures because you get that raw emotion, and it's quite an art to catch a great picture.
Well, see again, that's another
you must
thing.
see loads of them.
Yeah, no, but that's another thing, is the catch of the moment, because I'm all about something live, and that's why I love sport, and I love live sport, because in general, you don't quite know what the end result's going to be. So there's a real, you're watching a game. I mean, certain games are obviously you know what's going to happen, but other games you sort of, rugby South Africa against New Zealand, you haven't quite sure who's going to win. And then there's you get that raw power or emotional skill.
You've got to move quite quickly to pull it all together.
Well, you just see, like the opening of the Olympics, I saw, I think, 10,
Did you get to go to all of these amazing sports
events?
No,
you just
sit in the office.
Sit in the office and a screen, unfortunately. But
that's
like the opening of the Olympics,
creative. I mean,
pages.
we're on Creative Hearts, and we're talking all about creativity, and you've come to promote Berkofest, which is amazing, and to talk about it. But actually, your day job's also fairly creative. I mean, it's quite visual and.
Oh yeah, well, I've been involved in my professional life, which you sort of have been asking a couple of times. The last, I don't want to say it, number of years, I've been involved in the. In pictures. I was initially in a photo agency. I was especially in the beginning, I was with a French company called Sigma, where photography is regarded as an art, and they have their own ministry of photography. And very much I love, but the Sigma was very much was doing pictures from either from the war areas, like Iran, Iraq, and all that sort of thing. But again, to capture some of the horror, just to convey that to people, to show.
Well, to be able to capture that in one little
every
frame,
picture tells a story.
Exactly,
is
you've got
amazing.
to really take. My brother-in-law, who's a photographer, who's married to my sister, who lives in Brighton, who went to Uganda. That one,
the drumming.
Yes. He's a phenomenal photographer. So again, we've got this on their wall, this tale of Uganda and Kenya, and it's just.
Well, Uganda, especially, and all that's gone on, and and Rwanda and the neighbouring countries and various things.
He's got some kid dragging a bucket along the ground. I mean, it's just phenomenal. So, are you a photographer?
No.
Were you ever a photographer?
No. So again, I can't be. I want to be. I mean, like anybody else, you go on holiday, and I've taken the sunset pictures and all that sort of thing, and artistic poses. But I do. Again, I love. There's a skill to it. It's not just point and push. To capture that moment, and like they say, every picture tells a story. And as soon as you see it, you know it. You couldn't describe how you get to that point, but as soon as you show a picture, years ago there was a famous picture that we had when I was working for this organisation called Sigma. It was a famous picture of a starving African child next to a vulture. It was in Africa.
Yeah.
And it was the photographer was called Kevin Carter, and actually Manic Street Preachers did a song called Kevin Carter. And he had this massive dilemma: do I take the picture or do I intervene? And he obviously didn't intervene, because you can't upset the order. But then it sort of encapsulated and promoted the fact that there was this starvation still going on in certain parts of Africa, and that's what you want. And that's again with photography. Now I'm in sport, which some people can say it's pretty trivial, which is to a certain extent compared to say Syria. But also it captures the moment. What you want is that winning goal or that winning try or that winning catch or shot or whatever, and to get it. And so because if everybody sees a lot of it on TV, but you want it in your mind's eye, you think, that's it, that is it, and that's what you're going for. So I suppose, yes, that's creative. So everything about me is just this, in the nicest possible way, jealousy of the skill of these professionals. I haven't got it, but all I want to do is get it out there for people to see it and enjoy and get the same buzz.
So altruistic, though. I mean, to be honest, if you think about it, you're pulling it all together because you have a love and an appreciation for it. You're in the job of pulling things together for others to enjoy. That's like amazing.
Well,
isn't it?
Well, I hope so. Well, I suppose because I haven't had kids, so I haven't been drained from all. I haven't. You just want to make a contribution. You just want. It's not an ego thing.
But your work is. I mean, you're doing it on the. You position and edit the pictures you place where they're going to go.
I don't position it. I know what the size and the shape is, because that's governed by the words and the advertising and the art guys do all of that. I haven't got that skill. All I can say is, okay, you're looking for that goal. You're looking for, Balotelli or whatever scoring the goal in the last 2 minutes or whatever it may be, and that's what you're after. Or yesterday, Sanchez scoring for Arsenal. That's what you're after.
You put it out there and then you get all the...
Yeah, it comes into me, like I said, like in the opening of the Olympics, I got 50,000 pictures to wade through.
Oh my word.
But you soon spot it, you soon know it, and so you're just trying to capture whatever moment is, and it soon becomes self-evident.
So any photojournalists out there that want to get their pictures in the paper, they need to get that real wow. I mean, they know this.
They know,
don't
they absolutely know because it's in focus. And as soon as they see it, they go, "Wow, that's it." And it is that
you
moment.
know it.
You do know it.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you're not quite there, and that will be used because it's all about angles and everything else. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy that. I enjoy the buzz of that as well. And I enjoy watching a match, and then it's right on our deadline, and somebody's just scored 2 goals and they've just changed the whole nature of the game. And I react to that sort of, I suppose pressure is not really pressure, but it is, yeah. And similarly, it's this whole thing, with the music. You want to share it with people because they don't know about it, and you just think, come on, have a bit of fun and enjoy it.
Enjoy life. So, what does the future hold for Charlie Hussey then? What
well, at the moment, I just want to keep doing this festival, make it a great success, get people talking about it, not only in the local area, outside. I want to get that Berkofest on the map, literally, so people say, great, what's coming next year? In years to come, people getting excited, I must go to Berkofest, got to get a ticket, I want to be there. And similarly with our Magic Christmas, our winter show, and just people say, that's just quality. What you're trying to give is quality at affordable prices. That's what we're about.
And an experience by the sound.
And an experience.
Well. So if people want to get hold of you or want to find out more, what can they do? And you can say that to them directly. Okay,
if you want to be involved directly and indirectly, email Charlie, CHARLIE, .Berkofest, BERKFOS, FEST, Charlie@berkofest.com.
Lovely.
And just for whatever level, and we'll take it from there. So yeah, Charlie@berkofest.com.
And I guess you're open for funding and
for funding, definitely.
And hands on deck to help, presumably as well.
Yeah, hands on. If you have a quantifiable skill that we haven't got or we feel we're missing.
Or contacts, probably nice.
Yeah, contact. I mean, we are to be frank, like everybody. We're looking for
money.
For money, sponsorship, and we don't expect that to be given with nothing in return. That's hence the bounce back idea or various other things, and you'll be seen to be supporting something that's just good.
Excellent.
That's what we're after.
It's been really wonderful having you on the show today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I wish you every success, and I hope that you have continued success with Berkofest, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you there.
Well, you should be there.
When is the next one?
So the Magic Christmas is December the 13th at Centenary Theatre, Berkhamsted, and the main one is Berkofest at September the 12th. Also, for people who want to go we have our own website, which is berkofest.com. We have our own Facebook, we have our own Twitter, so all details are on that as well. So those are into sort of social media, you can easily find us. It's berkofest.com or the Facebook and Twitter.
Lovely. I'm sure everybody who watches will be interested to come along and be in touch.
I hope so.
Thank you again.
I look forward to seeing you.
Likewise. You've been watching another fabulous episode of the Creative Heart Show. We'll be back again soon with another creative person in the studio to inspire and motivate you. Take care.